is Echo Soundworks with another tutorial from ADSR and MassiveSynth.com. If you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel and you want to do that, you can at youtube.com/ADSRToots. That was a quick demo of the sound we'll be making today. I called it New Moog. It kind of has a mini Moog sound, especially when you play it at lower velocities. So let me turn off the reverb and the delay to show you that real quick. So then you can see when I play it quietly, kind of Moogy. And then it opens up the way I use the velocity macro, which is the main reason I wanted to share the sound with you. Is even if you hate that sound, you can still get some really cool tips and tricks from this video on how to modulate with the velocity macro in Massive to make your sound more expressive and playable. I do have some LFO sidechain compression going on over here with that crazy shape, but nothing you can't really get with any DAW and some ghost kicks and things like that. So let's jump right into it. Let me make sure this is zeroed out, a brand new sound in Massive. So first thing we're going to do is in the Oscillator 1 tab, we're going to select the virtual analog, and we're going to drag that down. And the pulse width, we're going to drag to about 50%. And I'm going to create some macros with the sound so I can kind of control it. And I'm going to drag that macro down to about 70%, and I'm going to call this tone. And now we're going to pitch this down to -12, and your sound should sound like this. So now we're going to grab the velocity crosshair for that macro. We're going to drag this up to 0.20. So now when I play the sound, see how it's just a really subtle effect. You can play around with how much you want to use, but I used about 0.20 on the original. And now in Oscillator 2, let's activate that. We're going to keep it on the square saw 1, and you don't have to touch anything except just pitch this up to +0.4. And in Oscillator 3, same thing. You're going to keep it on the square saw, but what we're going to do is we're going to take this tone and we're actually going to drag down to about 30%, and you can keep the intensity where it is, but let's pitch this up to 12.3 to kind of give it a little bit of detune. And now I'm going to turn my tone up a little, and I'm going to clear out this vibrato macro right now because we're not going to use that. And now that we have the oscillator set up, let's go to our voicing tab real quick because it's going to sound funky unless we do. I'm going to select monophonic and then leave that on always, and for the voices in unison and all that, just leave it on 1. Now it's going to sound even weirder. It's because this glide. So turn down the glide. And I just, I'm going to macro this actually with the velocity. I did not do this in the original sound, but I think it'll be kind of cool. All right, and now let's go to our noise oscillator, which is important for the sound. We're going to leave it on white, turn the amp up to about 25-30%, turn the color down to about maybe 85-90, and we're going to modulate again with that velocity macro. So modulate the color down so it's brighter, and modulate the amp up. So now listen, if I play the sound quietly, hear the noise come in when I hit it hard. So I haven't shown you the MIDI yet for this, but you'll see I have different velocity note values in here. It goes from ranges from quiet to loud, and I just went through and kind of, after I played it, I played that on the keyboard. I played this progression, but then what I did was I just went through and just drag some up that I wanted to be more kind of coming out to the front of the mix. So now that we've gotten the oscillators and the noise oscillator set up, let's go to our Insert 1 tab, and we're going to select the parabolic shaper, and you're going to turn the dry wet all the way up and turn the drive down. So this is what your sound should sound like now. All right, so let's go on to the filters. We're going to turn off filter 2. We're going to low pass 4. And on the cutoff, turn it down. Turn the resonance down to about 40%. And then we're going to create yet another, move this over so it's full screen. We're going to create yet another macro control here. And I'm going to pop it in this first empty slot and then drag up to about a little over 50%. And I'm going to call this cutoff. All right, and now let's take this velocity macro, and in the third box, we're going to drag the velocity macro out to actually just a hair under where we had the cutoff set to. All right, and now let's go to our first envelope because we're going to use that to modulate the cutoff of filter 1. And so you're going to turn the attack down for starters, and I'm going to create another macro here. Pop it in the attack box. I'm going to call this decay. This is a pretty cool, you'll see this is a pretty cool effect for the sound. So on the attack, drag it up to a little over halfway. Turn the decay down. And we're going to use this to kind of control that. All right, and what we're going to do is, now we got that kind of squared away, we're going to drag that into our, we're going to take the crosshair for envelope 1 and drag it into the remaining box on our cutoff filter, and then drag that up maybe to about just 35%. So then turn your level down, and then when you have this decay macro that we created all the way down, it should kind of sound plucky. And I'm going to turn the release up just to about 50%. So then this line right here should kind of be near that trig, in between that trig 0 reset and the I'm trying to decay out a little, in between the T and that empty box. All right, and now in envelope 4, all I'm going to do is turn the attack down a little, and then turn the level and the decay in a pinch, and pull up the release. And one last thing we gotta do with that first envelope is I'm going to modulate a little bit of the resonance up with it. All right, and then in the FX1 slot, I am going to activate the reverb. I'm going to turn the dry wet down. And I'm just going to leave the density and the color where it's at. And now I'm going to activate the delayed sync in the FX2. And I'm going to turn the dry wet down, keep the damp, kind of turn the damp up a little, and then turn the feedback back. And what we're going to do with the left ratio is turn it to about 2. And we're going to keep that rest on the right on 416. I'm going to boost a little bit of the high to kind of make the sound cut through the rest of the sounds. Try a little bit more reverb here. And that is basically the sound, guys. Really, the tips and tricks to take away from this video again are using that velocity macro to introduce some expressive playability to your sound. You put it on the cutoff filter, and it can actually kind of transform a sound from old school to new school just by a difference in velocity. So if you have any questions or comments, let me know below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And as always, thanks for watching. And if you haven't headed on over to massivesynth.com, check it out. See you next time.